With Bitcoin receiving its highest monthly close in history, all eyes are on Bitcoin as it continues to follow the global liquidity to infinity and beyond. But is this the beginning of something big? Or is it the beginning of something mega big? So if you are right now watching the price of Bitcoin thinking something big is about to happen, hit that like and subscribe. Get signed up with FEMX below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, or trade. And as well, beginning on June 9th until June 30th, a large trading competition is going to be taking place on FEMX with 5 million USDT up for grabs. And once you're on FEMX, go over to the 2025 trading competition tab, scroll down to teams, put in Tyler, and you can join the team there. So with Bitcoin just putting in its highest monthly close in history, a lot of other big things are happening too. And we also see very big bullish divergence appearing on Bitcoin's chart, where we see over the last few months a decline in the price of Bitcoin, but the indicators, specifically the RSI, on an uptrend. And as well, we see the same thing, hidden bullish divergence here, as the price of Bitcoin has been uptrending, but the RSI has been on a downtrend, indicating that the price of Bitcoin likely, over the next few weeks, I think is very likely to be heading upwards. In addition to that, we see that whales are continuing to buy Bitcoin, but in a much bigger way than we've ever seen before. Obviously, I think something big is coming big time. And you can see that if you really zoom in, the whales that are accumulating Bitcoin are just skyrocketing. And that usually is an indication that the price of Bitcoin is likely to head higher. Now, if you look just at a daily chart, you can see as of this very second, though, the price of Bitcoin is below its 21-day moving average for the very first time, actually, since back at the beginning of April. So below its 21-day moving average for the first time in 2 months. And that leads many people to think, are we about to see like a big dump? Are we about to see the price of Bitcoin have some sort of potential 100K retest or a potentially even bigger dump? Well, the daily chart, again, if you look short term, I'll be the first to admit, I have no idea what Bitcoin's going to do in 5 minutes from now. I absolutely am confident that I know what it's going to do over the next year, 10 years, 30 years. And it's really simple. Go up. Basically, right? It's not super complicated. And in the short term, for example, the MACD is kind of curled over the last couple of days. RSI honestly doesn't really look too bearish, but if you look at something like the weekly chart, this thing's only just getting started in terms of pumping. Clearly, this is something we've looked at for months and months, and the longer term charts are way more important anyway. But are we potentially going to see a little continuation of the downside? Well, to get us below this 21-day moving average to begin with, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive dumpy red candles with in total about a 6% dump over those 4 days. So that's really that's not very big. Getting dumped on for 4 days and only really coming down 6%, not that crazy. In fact, how much would it take for us to get back up to all-time highs? About a 5 or 6% move to the upside. So really, again, when you zoom out on this chart, we're still literally right at all-time highs. But yeah, of course, there's maybe a chance that over the next couple of days, sometime this week, I'm sure we will get another 2, 3, 4% dump for the price of Bitcoin. Looking at a weekly chart though too, and we're sitting right on, like basically right above 100K. I'll put a line of where 100K is basically exactly right here. So spent months from November to February, beginning of November to middle of February, basically trying to stay above 100K, which we didn't really. And then for the very first time back at the beginning of May, we got back above 100K again, so about a month ago. Now, again, everything above 100K is just building support. Obviously, unless we go significantly below 100K, but everything above 100K is just further, at least at this point, potentially a back test to try to, cement that before the next move up. In addition, we're seeing the US inflation is dropping. It's now below the Fed's 2% target, according to Crypto Goose on X, giving Powell enough room to actually start cutting rates. Once that happens, expect massive amounts of money to flood into crypto. I mean, again, I think that's probably one of the biggest single things people are waiting for, is that it's very likely, as soon as the Fed does start cutting these rates and really just start the money printer again, It's just another gigantic catalyst to look forward to in the very, very short term for Bitcoin to head a lot higher. We also see the money supply is expanding as Bitcoin continues to follow that. I don't think anything is going to be changing here. As we see the money supply continue to expand, as we've shown chart after chart after chart, it sends the price of Bitcoin higher as well. And I don't see any evidence to why that would not be the case. In fact, it's been basically completely validated and confirmed over and over and over again over the past few weeks. Every time it's lagged, right, by like 10, 11 or so weeks, but it does just continue to go up like the M2 money supply. We also see Bitcoin is following the global liquidity. As we've just discussed, it looks like the next move for Bitcoin should just be, again, I don't know what it's going to do 5 minutes from now. Maybe we'll get a 2% dump or something and it's red on the day and people start panicking. I don't care about that. Nobody really does. Maybe people that are new that get really hung up on every like 2-minute move or something. But the next major leg of this is very likely to just be, tens of thousands of dollars higher than where we currently are. And in fact, do we have to get a test of 100K first or something? I don't care. Does like, unless you're only doing like the shortest term trading or something, it really doesn't matter if Bitcoin dumps on Monday and then pumps to an all-time high on Wednesday. Are you going to care about it dumping on Monday? I mean, I'm not. But yeah, that's completely irrelevant in my opinion. And as we discussed as well, Bitcoin did make its highest monthly close ever last night, right around 104, 105,000 US dollars. Absolutely ginormous. But a full trading week coming up, as we had a shortened week last week for the holiday, only 4 days of trading. The stock market, for example, take a look at the SPX. This will be the third week above its 50-week moving average for the SPX, which was not doing good. And you really look at a chart like this too, it almost looks like a full recovery almost was made, right? Over these last few months after bottoming at the very, very beginning of April, right before taxes are due, not coincidentally, most likely. Things are just looking strong. I think the DXY is going to get rejected at 100 if it comes back up to it again. Actually, it did over the last couple of days, and it got rejected at 100 again. I think the DXY is going to continue this downtrend for Trump's presidency, for his term, similar to what it did the last time he was president for 4 years. Big week ahead, I think, very likely. This is one of those things where we're sitting right at those all-time highs. Granted, now we're slightly below the 21-day moving average, so maybe we will get a shorter-term pullback. But in addition, I think it's important to mention that I think altcoins are, as many people have been discussing with ETH is potentially, for the first time in 4 years, finally looking like it has some strength and maybe has bottomed, which is a signal that spreads throughout the entire altcoin market. A lot of people watching these videos actually don't care much about alts, but a lot of people that are watching do. I think people that have been here longer are more so invested and interested in hearing about Bitcoin, and people that have maybe only been invested for 1 or 2 years or something are probably a little bit heavier into altcoins and get a little more excited about altcoins. But I truly believe, whether or not you like altcoins or not, I just truly believe that altcoins will stop underperforming and actually start performing maybe not as good as other alt seasons, right? Because Bitcoin has really been chosen as the winner in this race, but that doesn't mean other coins cannot also be chosen to a lesser extent. And basically, money in this space is likely to ramp up once the excitement returns anyway. And that's the craziest thing too, is there is like such a lack of excitement still in this market. It's kind of insane actually how indifferent, how not euphoric. There is one thing that is completely true that has not been wrong of any bull cycle for Bitcoin at this point, especially in my own experience and watching this, is that when you're at a top, when the market has topped, there is at least a pretty large amount of excitement and euphoria and new people that are telling their friends, and there's like this social thing that happens. It's a psychological, social, it's very almost tangible feeling and vibe that basically escapes from the crypto bubble and kind of spreads to other, to more and more people in a very, very, very fast way. And we're not seeing, there's no sense of that. There is absolutely zero sense of any type of actual euphoria and froth and excitement in this market. In fact, it is heavily, heavily, heavily tilted the other way. This market still remains sentimentally heavily depressed. And that's, I mean, if I had to pick one reason, I mean, actually, no, I probably wouldn't pick that actually as the major reason why I think we're going much higher, but it is a very, very important reason that I personally, I just think is one of the most accurate ways to read the current market. And it is just not full of excitement. It is full of depression still. And it's funny saying that considering Bitcoin is right at all-time highs. But again, people mostly don't care about Bitcoin. They want to see their altcoins go up a lot, and altcoins have not. And that's why a lot of people are depressed. But get signed up with FMX below for my Bitcoin, altcoins, or trade as well. Sign up with the link below, and then if you're already signed up, you can head over to the website and you can join the team. If you just type in my name, it should be right up there in joining a team. And yeah, we're trying to get as many people as possible to have a good chance of getting a lot of these bonuses for everyone as well. And overall, just have a higher chance of success. And with that, Freddie McGee.